Look around the room you're in right now. It seems pretty peaceful, right? Well, the truth is, you are currently standing right in the dead center of a war zone. And actually, you're not just standing in it, you are the prize. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're uncovering the microscopic battlefield of human pathogens and infectious diseases. It's an invisible, relentless war happening all around you, and even more wildly, right inside your own body. So let's break down the source material together, because understanding your enemy is always the very first step to victory.
We all go about our daily lives completely unaware of the constant threat from these microscopic invaders trying to breach our bodily fortresses. I mean, think about it. Every door handle you grab, every breath you take on a packed train, every bite of food you eat, these are all potential vectors for a stealthy invasion. And these microscopic entities have one single driving purpose. They want to get inside you, adapt to your environment, and hijack your body's resources just to multiply.
Okay, let's dive into this. A pathogen is quite simply an organism that causes disease in humans. And they generally fall into 5 distinct factions: bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoans, and helminths, which are basically parasitic worms. It's really important to grasp that each of these factions brings entirely different weapons, different infiltration strategies, and completely different targets within your body to this war. Now, getting inside us isn't exactly a walk in the park for these guys. Our bodies are essentially heavily fortified castles. Take the digestive tract, for example. Any bacteria trying to get in that way literally has to survive a moat of highly corrosive stomach acid. We're talking about a pH level similar to battery acid here. So these invaders have had to evolve some absolutely incredible adaptations just to withstand our natural biological defenses, navigate through our system, and ultimately propagate.
Section 1. The bacterial sieges, heavy hitters in the digestive tract and lungs. So, these bacterial heavy hitters launch highly targeted attacks on very specific organs. Let's compare 2 major ones. First, you have Salmonella typhi, which is the culprit behind typhoid fever. This one is a stealthy infiltrator. It sneaks in through contaminated food or water and makes a beeline specifically for your small intestine. On the flip side, you have Streptococcus pneumonia, the bacteria responsible for pneumonia. It launches a totally different kind of attack, an airborne assault. It rides in on respiratory droplets from coughs or sneezes to directly attack the delicate little air sacs in your lungs. So 2 different invaders, 2 completely different routes of attack.
Let's look a little closer at typhoid's brutal siege tactics. Once Salmonella typhi sets up camp in the small intestine, it can actually spread right into your bloodstream. The patient experiences a sustained high fever, severe stomach pain, and just massive, draining weakness. And if this siege isn't broken, well, severe cases can lead to intestinal perforation. That literally means the bacteria burns a hole right through the intestine, which can be fatal. To catch this microscopic spy, doctors rely on a very specific diagnostic tool called the Widal test. Meanwhile, pneumonia uses more of a drowning tactic. The bacteria infect the lungs' air sacs, causing them to rapidly fill up with fluid. This leads to intense fevers, chills, and a super painful, persistent cough as your body desperately tries to clear out the airways. But the most critical symptom to watch out for is cyanosis. Because all that fluid is physically blocking oxygen from getting into your blood, severe pneumonia literally starves your body of oxygen. This actually turns the patient's lips and nails a terrifying bluish color.
Section 2. The swift viral raid, the common cold.
Shifting gears away from those prolonged bacterial sieges, we have the common cold. Unlike bacteria, viruses, like the rhinovirus, operate on a highly contagious hit-and-run strategy. They really don't want to kill the host. They just want to get in, multiply, and get out as fast as possible. And they spread incredibly rapidly through the air. Seriously, all it takes is one infected person sneezing, and boom, they're launching thousands of viral droplets at up to 100 miles per hour, completely ready to raid the very next unsuspecting host. Now, this viral raid is swift, and yes, it is incredibly annoying. Symptoms usually involve that familiar nasal congestion and a sore, scratchy throat. But hey, here's the good news. This invasion is typically short-lived. Our body's immune system is actually incredibly efficient at recognizing this specific threat and completely repelling it. Usually within about 7 days, the whole infection just resolves. The invaders are cleared out, and your fortress is totally secure once again. Section 3. Parasitic intruders, stealth, vectors, and chronic damage. Welcome to the eerie, complex world of protozoans and vectors. And this brilliantly illustrates just how complicated a parasitic attack can actually be. We're looking at the multi-stage life cycle of malaria, a disease caused by the Plasmodium protozoan. It doesn't just jump directly from human to human. First, it requires a vector, specifically the bite of an infected female anaphase mosquito. Second, once injected, the parasite acts almost like a sleeper agent. It travels quietly to your liver, where it rapidly multiplies in secret. Then, in the third step, those newly multiplied parasites burst out and fiercely invade your red blood cells. This massive invasion of the red blood cells is exactly what triggers the disease's signature, exhausting cycles of recurring chills and high fever every few days. It's just a highly sophisticated biological cycle.
Now let's talk about the helminths, which are the parasitic worms. These invaders cause some truly terrifying physical impacts. Take Ascaris, for instance. It's a common roundworm transmitted through contaminated food or water. It causes a disease called ascariasis, which can result in intense abdominal pain, internal bleeding, and, shockingly, actual physical blockage of the intestines. Then you have Wuchereria, which is transmitted by mosquito vectors. This worm causes filariasis, leading to chronic inflammation of your lymphatic vessels. Over time, that chronic inflammation can result in severe, permanent physical deformities. It's a chilling reminder of the long-term chronic damage these parasites can inflict, which is in stark contrast to that swift 7-day viral raid we talked about earlier.
We've seen the sheer variety and terrifying ingenuity of these pathogens, right? The fast-moving viruses, the siege-laying bacteria, the complex protozoans, the destructive worms, all of which begs one really vital question. Against such relentless, constantly evolving, and diverse enemies, how on earth do we actually defend our biological fortress?
Section 4. Humanity's Counterattack. Defending the Biological Fortress.
Because as much as these pathogens have evolved to attack us, human ingenuity has evolved to fight back. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that we are not defenseless. We've built up a formidable defense arsenal. It starts with the basics, maintaining solid personal hygiene and practicing public health measures like proper waste disposal to cut off transmission routes like contaminated water. We fight vectors through community control efforts and the simple yet incredibly life-saving use of mosquito nets. But our real heavy artillery, that lies in the biological sciences. The development of vaccines to train our immune systems, and antibiotics to wipe out bacterial sieges. These have been absolute game changers, allowing us to manage and even completely eradicate many of these historical killers.
But the war is far from over. This is literally an ongoing evolutionary arms race.
Because as we develop new antibiotics and vaccines, the pathogens are constantly adapting, mutating, and finding brand new ways to breach our walls. Public health efforts have to remain vigilant. The human body is a miraculous fortress, and our sciences are without a doubt our greatest shield. But as you go about your day-to-day, looking at the world a little differently, I want you to ask yourself, as both sides continually adapt and